presented. It says, Resolution Taylor City of Taylor Council, whereas significant questions exist by both the City Council and the members of the general public regarding the unelected TIFA, which is the Tax Increment Financing Authority Board, and its ability to approve projects and dispense taxpayer funds, and whether its budget requires approval by the City Council. Be it resolved that the City of Taylor Corporation Council shall research TIFA in general and shall provide answers to the following specific questions. How does this, number one, how does the city charter affect the TIFA and its powers? Does it place any restraints on the actions of the TIFA board? Number two, what is the purpose of the receive and file motion? If it is rejected by the City Council, is the action that it references still valid? Number three, what percentage of the annual TIFA tax capture derives from the funds that would otherwise be available to the City of Taylor if the tax capture did not exist? Number four, who currently provides legal representation to the TIFA? Number five, if the same person or entity provides legal representation to both the TIFA and the City Council, would that not constitute a conflict of interest? Number six, does the annual TIFA budget need to be approved by the City Council? If the answer is no, please explain how this is possible under state law, Public Act 57 of 2018, the Tax Increment Financing Act, specifically the section cited below. Section 325. 1. The Director of the Authority shall prepare and submit for the approval of the Board a budget for the operation of the authority for its ensuing fiscal year. The budget shall be prepared in the manner and contain the information required of municipal departments. Before the budget may be adopted by the Board, it shall be approved by the governing body, emphasis added. Section 125-4301 definitions, Section 301. E, Board means governing body of the authority. O, governing body means the elected body of the municipality having legislative powers, emphasis added. Be it further resolved that the City Council recognizes that questions regarding TIFA are of great public interest and that in the interest of transparency of the City Council reserves the right to share the answers from Corporation Council on this matter with the public. I might have had a word in there or two extra, but just by mistake.
Here and there. So can we get a couple of those answered right now so that we can get it out of the way if people got ahead for it?
So I did share with the council members a number of TIFA-related documents today, and I shared those with the Corporation Council and the Mayor and the Chief of Staff. Number one, very good presentation by the Chairman of the Board, Ron Moran, at, I believe it was a business meeting earlier this year. So that video covered kind of a lot of the history and maybe some of the questions that we had last night. In addition, the question came up with the Michigan case law, so I forwarded that to you. Our former council secretary, who must be watching our study sessions, sent a summary of TIFA as well. And so I believe in that information, some of these can be addressed. In particular on the budget. If you go, one of the links I sent was for our own city website, and it shows the budgets over the last number of years. And part of the 2018 revision to the law was to specify transparency within what the TIFA and the various boards do. So that information is on there, and I believe that their budget does come to us and is approved by the council. And then under the budget, they would need to, or they then have, they're a subunit of the City Council, but they have certain rights and permissions under the TIFA law. I'm not certain if it
so I just wanted, I spoke to it last night, and I wanted to get a legal opinion in writing, if we could.
Okay,
Okay?
fair enough. Any further discussion on the resolution?
Through the chair, if I may. Part of the resolution is to, well, the council reserves the right to share the answers from the corporation council and with the public. I would just ask that the council foresee the opinion before they make a decision as to whether or not they want to waive the privilege.
The way that I would read that, Mr. Plato, much like we did today, once you submit the opinion to the council, the entire council would have to vote on waiving attorney-client privilege. So reserving the right is restating what is already our right, but that certainly is fine in terms of language as I understand it. And I will mention that I do appreciate that Councilman Rose took the time and due diligence. I know.
I heard you.
Well, I appreciate it, right? Because now we all know what moved out before us and what we're voting on. So thank you, and good job. Any further discussion?
All excellent questions.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I
Mayor.
have one thing I forgot, and I apologize. Just want to recognize Sergeant Troy Cox.
We haven't voted on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. A motion to adopt resolution regarding City of Taylor TIFA. Motion by Councilwoman Brandana, supported by Councilman Johnson. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. The yeses have it, motion carried. Mr. Mayor.
Sorry about that. Just want to recognize Officer Sergeant Troy Cox. This is his last week. I think the end of the week is his last day. Over 20 years service in the City of Taylor, and I want to thank him for everything he's done for our community.
Thank you. Is there any further open business from the council?
Sure.
Councilman Brandon?
If I've already spoken quite a bit, if anybody has something for me.
You're right, I need to ask if anybody else wants to be recognized before I recognize you a second
Okay,
time.
thank you, Bill. That's nice.
Is there any other open business? Councilman Rammer?
I believe, through the chair, that the clerk had obtained some information. I wonder if I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
And I'm just wondering if, quickly, now that you understand what I was going to ask, if I could just ask the questions quickly, and all you have to do is give me quick answers.
To the chair,
To the
of course,
chair.
I printed my email so that
Outstanding.
my memory would.
Just try to pull the mic a little bit closer.
Yes, please.
Councilman Rammer?
Okay, first, the question, and basically it's a reference the bonding of projects. The first question is, bonds are submitted with bid. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do everything that's bid receive a bond at time?
Not necessarily.
Okay. And?
There are a few types of bonds, okay?
Mhm.
A bid bond or security bond is requested on public work construction contracts in an amount equal to, or 5% of the amount of the bid. So that's like, we call that a bid bond when we're opening the bids. My first question is there a bid bond on this contract? Because I'm going to be looking for that within the envelope. And it's not with all of them, it's only certain ones that meet that criteria. And we also have a contract performance or payment bonds. And those are on the larger type contracts, like I explained in my email, usually construction projects, public work projects, in excess of $50,000. Those are typically from a surety company in the amount of the project. And that's once the contract's awarded, that's not part of the bid. So once the contract's awarded, you have the performance bond and the payment bond.
So that would be, if we had a $1 million project, let's say, that bond should cover that project.
Through the chair, yes.
So if, that way, if it becomes a failure, or they back out at the last minute, that bond would cover anything that basically that project.
Through the chair, yes.
Okay. I also asked, can any of the bond submitted of cashier's check money